on. And Rami, of course, everybody's talking about Juan Soto. Juan Soto, Josh Bell, both get traded in the same deal to the San Diego Padres. Here's ESPN's Jeff Passan on the trade.
When the Washington Nationals set out to trade Juan Soto after he rejected their 15-year, $440 million contract offer, they were looking for talent. And the San Diego Padres from the beginning had more talent that they were willing to give than any other team, and that is why this deal got done.
So this was going to take a king's ransom, and they got it, essentially with prospects.
Yeah, they rebuilt their farm system overnight, and the San Diego Padres showed that when you draft well, sign well, and develop well, this is the type of talent that you give yourself access to.
Rami, your thoughts on the trade?
This Padres team, man. Oof. 1 through 6 in their lineup, Nick.
Ridiculous.
Tatis, Soto, Machado, Cronenworth, Bell, and Voit.
If Tatis can stay healthy.
If Tatis can stay healthy, obviously. But, oh, my God, man. And that is that we were talking about the Juan Soto trade when you first came back from your vacation, Nick, and after the rumors had sort of started rumbling that he was on the block during the All-Star break. And we said then the perfect place for Juan Soto, because this isn't the NFL where you get a franchise quarterback and it instantly changes the fortunes and the direction of your franchise. Or in the NBA, you get a superstar like a LeBron James or a Kevin Durant and instantly changes the fortunes and the direction of a franchise. In baseball, getting a Juan Soto alone doesn't make you a championship contender.
Correct.
And the Nationals are proof of that. The Angels are proof of that with two guys like a Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani and still nowhere near contending. We said the right team for Juan Soto to go to is a team that's already a contender and needs that piece that puts them over the top. The Padres are a perfect example of that team. This is an amazing move, and that team is going to be fun to watch for a long, long time if this core stays healthy and they can keep them together.
Tough loss for Washington, and I understand that they offered him a gigantic contract that he turned down, but they're the 7th market in the country. They were just World Series champions in 2019. He is 23 years old. 23 years old and
That's
elite.
Insane, dude.
23 years old and elite.
This is somebody guy on my baseball team.
Yeah, this is somebody who should be, in the middle of your lineup or the top of your lineup for the next 10 to 15 years. And it's ridiculous. Again, I know they offered him a ton of money. They did not offer him enough. And now you trade him. And we can talk about rebuilding your farm system and all of that, but the point is, you just traded a 23-year-old generational player, and that doesn't happen very often. We could sit there and we can blame the Angels for not surrounding Mike Trout well enough so they can win at a high level, but at least they kept Trout.
At least they keep him in the Angels uniform, yeah.
I mean, and I do agree, though, with Passan. We talk about farm systems and we talk about prospects, and look, prospects, who knows what's going to happen to the prospects that get dealt today. Some guys work out, some guys don't work out, most guys don't work out. But Passan's thought is the right one here. Because San Diego had built such a deep and impressive farm system, it allowed them to deal for Hader. It allowed them to deal for Soto and Bell. It allowed them to make all of these deals. And now they're sitting pretty with this lineup that could end up being one of the best lineups as long as Tatis comes back that we've ever seen in the game of baseball. That's how talented and deep this lineup could be. And San Diego, rightly so, they're all in. They have one of those generational young guys in Tatis Jr. if he can stay healthy, and now they just added a second with Soto.
To go and get the best closer in the game and arguably the best hitter in the game on back-to-back days, if you're a Padres fan today, like, you're planning a parade already. You know what I mean? It has to be amazing to be a Padres fan today and watching what this team is doing at the trade deadline.
It has to be. It has to be amazing. And what was almost amazing was that Eric Hosmer almost held up this trade.
Eric Hosmer for a few hours.
I mean, this
was the most powerful man in Major League Baseball.
Hosmer has a no-trade clause, and there were, 10 teams on the no-trade clause, and one of those teams actually happened to be the Nats. And for a little bit, Hosmer was part of this trade. And then we found out that Hosmer was holding up the trade because he did not want to go to D.C. He did not want anything to do with the Nationals organization, which is a really, really tough look. A really tough look for the Nats. I don't know. But, I mean, to be fair, he's got, 1/3 of the teams on the list?
True.
So there are a lot of teams on that list that he just, maybe not completely ruled out, because you never know. I mean, it also could be an angle for money, right? Like if you have a team that is on your no trade clause, you can try to make it work and finagle some little perks here and there. But the Nats were on the no trade clause list, and because of that, this deal was held up a little bit. Luke Voit ends up being the veteran player that gets traded to Washington instead of Hosmer. Hosmer ends up with the Red Sox. Also today, Darren Ruff was dealt by the Giants to the Mets for J.D. Davis from Elk Grove and some prospects as well. So Ruff is out. But interestingly enough, the Giants, they hold on to both Rodon and Jock Peterson.
Which I don't necessarily, I mean, I guess I understand they're not going all in, but also not going all out, Nick, in terms of trying to contend and get to the playoffs. But for me personally, that's kind of exactly where I don't want my baseball team to be. That feels like spinning wheels to me. Yeah. You know what I mean? I'd rather you're all in or bailing and getting all out and getting something in return.
It's interesting that you bring that up, because I grew up in New England. You grew up in Chicago, and we both have teams today that just stumped us. So would you like to just go crazy about your Chicago Cubs?
I mean, I don't know if I'm ready to go crazy just yet.
Fair,
because
if they sign
if they sign Contreras and they sign Happ to extensions, I'm ecstatic, because there's no reason a team like the Cubs in a market like Chicago, with their own TV network that they said they started so that they'd have the money and the resources to stay competitive and put that into the roster, to be trading away a 30-year-old catcher in his prime and a 28-year-old outfielder in his prime, both coming off all-star seasons. There's just no reason for it. The Cubs should be in on a Shohei Ohtani. The Cubs should be in on a Juan Soto. But okay, if you're going to tear the thing down, then tear the thing down. The fact that Contreras and Happ are still Cubs today and may just enter free agency this offseason and be lost for nothing but compensatory draft picks is an unacceptable outcome. And not just for the Cubs. You were talking about this yesterday with the Red Sox and Xander Bogaerts. Any organization that allows that to happen, their front office is derelict in their duties as a Major League Baseball front office to let our all-star talent go somewhere for nothing but a compensatory draft pick. How do you let it get to that point? It makes no sense to me whatsoever.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous, and I don't know what the Red Sox are doing. I mean, we know what the A's are doing. The Giants are interesting. They're hovering around 500. They had a magical season a year ago. It does not look like that was something that was going to be sustained this year. It looks like more and more that 2021 was lightning in a bottle for Gabe Kapler and company. And you thought, Rodon's got the option coming up. You thought Rodon might be out the door. You thought Jock might be out the door. But they kind of straddled the fence a little bit too, right? So it's an interesting approach. It's an interesting philosophy. The Red Sox, they trade Christian Vasquez yesterday, who is going to be a free agent. So you figured Rich Hill, Nathan Eovaldi, Xander Bogaerts, all these guys that are on the last year of their contracts, you figured, all right, J.D. Martinez is going to be gone. Xander's should be gone because they're not going to sign him to an extension. Rich Hill should be gone. Nathan Eovaldi should be gone. You have to pick a path. You either sell or you buy. And the Red Sox seem like they don't know what they want to do. It seems like ownership did not want to admit to the fans that they're going to give up on the season by trading those guys. It seems like they don't want the fans to, understand, or they don't want to admit to the fans that they're not going to sign Xander Bogaerts to an extension. So they want to try to kick that can down the road. And it's now you look at it and you might have 4 or 5 guys walk in the offseason and get absolutely nothing but a compensatory pick.
If you know a guy is not going to be a part of contention in the near future and you can get assets for him, why would you just hang on to the guy?
It doesn't make any sense.
It makes no sense whatsoever.
It doesn't make any sense.
Ian Happ of the Cubs, you said you just watched Wolf of Wall Street the other day.
Yeah.
You just tweeted out a GIF from Wolf of Wall Street. I'm not leaving.
Yeah.
That's a great tweet.
That's a great scene. 916-339-1140 is the text line. Number is 1-800-920-1140. Your thoughts on the baseball trading deadline, if you have them. And also, don't forget, YouTube, Sacktown Sports 1140. Click that subscribe button. We would